Have you ever stopped to wonder why so many older adults quietly fade away before reaching the age of 82, even though they seemed perfectly healthy just a few years before? It's rarely heart disease, it's not usually cancer, and it's almost never something sudden or dramatic. No. What steals life early for so many is something far more quiet, deeply overlooked, and dangerously misunderstood. I'm Dr. James, a men's health expert with over 30 years of experience helping seniors not just live longer, but feel more alive in the years they have left. And over the decades, through thousands of patient stories and countless hours of research, I uncovered a surprising pattern, one that most physicians still miss. What if I told you that the strongest clue to your longevity after 60 has nothing to do with your blood pressure, your cholesterol, or even your physical fitness? Instead, it lies in something rarely discussed, something many have pushed away, often because of shame, fear, or simply a lack of understanding. Today, I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful, yet most hidden, keys to staying independent, vibrant, and mentally sharp well into your 80s, 90s, and beyond. And the best part? You don't need prescriptions, intense exercise, or complicated routines. This tool is already inside of you. It's waiting, quietly, to be reawakened. Stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'll walk you through the simple but life-changing steps you can take right now to restore your vitality. And what I share at the very end may shift the way you see aging forever. Before we begin, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe and tap the bell icon so you don't miss any of our important health insights created to help you stay strong, energetic, and self-reliant. If this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. And if there's anything we could do better, type ZO. Your feedback helps us serve you better. Now, let's begin with one of the most silent but devastating threats facing older adults today: the slow, quiet loss of connection to physical pleasure. I've spent countless hours with men and women in their 70s and 80s, sitting across from them, listening to stories, watching the light in their eyes dim ever so slightly. And over time, I began to see a pattern, a quiet sorrow, a sense that life had shrunk, that something warm and intimate had slowly slipped away, not all at once, but bit by bit. It wasn't just loneliness, it wasn't just aging, it was something deeper, a slow detachment from the body itself, a fading relationship with touch, with sensation, with the simple act of feeling alive. This is not something many older adults talk about, but it's happening, everywhere, in silence. You see, somewhere along the way, society taught us a lie, that intimacy, real, physical, human connection, belongs to the young, that after a certain age, we're supposed to close that door quietly and never speak of it again. Many believe it's shameful or inappropriate or simply no longer relevant. Some give up because of physical changes, others because of grief or trauma or feeling undesired. And many simply don't know that this kind of connection isn't just still possible, it's essential. When we disconnect from our bodies, the decline begins quietly. Blood flow slows, nerve pathways dull, hormones fall out of rhythm, and piece by piece, we begin to lose energy, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Sleep suffers, mood drops, the immune system weakens, and the risk of chronic illness rises, from heart disease to dementia to depression. I've seen it with my own eyes, men and women who were once vibrant and sharp, gradually fading, not because their organs failed, but because the very spark that gave them life was neglected. Let me be clear, physical pleasure, whether shared or experienced alone, is not a luxury. It is a pillar of long-lasting vitality. When we walk away from it, not only do we lose joy, we lose time. But here's the hope. You can return. You can reawaken the parts of you that still know how to feel, how to respond, how to live. It is never too late. Your body remembers. And it's waiting for you to remember too. Coming up, I'll show you why this one act, this connection with your body, may hold the key to preserving memory, protecting your heart, and even extending your independence. And if any part of this is resonating with you, type 1 in the comments. I want to know you're still walking this path with me. Now, let's move forward and uncover the truth behind something that very few dare to say out loud. For decades, I've watched what happens when older adults stay connected to their bodies. There's a difference, not just in how they age, but in how they live. Their eyes stay brighter, their step is lighter, their spirit more awake. And one thing has become crystal clear: maintaining physical pleasure, even through solo expression, isn't optional, it's foundational. Now, I know this may sound surprising, especially if you were raised in a time when topics like this were met with silence, discomfort, or shame. But nature doesn't follow social rules, and your biology, it doesn't lie. After 60, your body naturally begins to shift. Blood flow decreases, hormones like testosterone drop, muscle tone softens, neurological function begins to slow. But something extraordinary happens when you engage in sexual expression, even alone. Circulation improves. Blood moves through the heart, the brain, and your extremities, bringing nourishment to areas that may have started to weaken. Endorphins are released, easing stress and supporting restful, healing sleep. Testosterone rises slightly, helping to maintain strength, bone density, and emotional balance. These aren't just small changes, they are the roots of resilience. Even more remarkable, the impact on the brain. Studies in neuroscience show that sexual pleasure stimulates multiple brain regions at once, areas responsible for memory, focus, and emotional processing. In plain terms, it keeps your brain young. I've seen this play out again and again. Older adults who embrace this part of themselves often think more clearly, feel more creatively inspired, and carry a lighter, more joyful energy. But beyond the biology, there's something more sacred. Self-pleasure after 60 isn't just a physical act, it's an act of self-respect. It says, "My body is still worth loving." It breaks the myth that aging means disappearing. It reminds you that you're still here, still feeling, still human. This kind of emotional connection to yourself often creates a ripple effect. Better food choices, more movement, greater interest in people, in life, in joy. And when someone asks me, is it too late to feel all that again? My answer is simple: never. Your body may need a softer touch, a little more patience, but it can still give you moments of healing, of warmth, of deep, nourishing sensation. So why, if these benefits are so powerful, do so many seniors remain disconnected? The answer lies in a few painful but common misconceptions. And that's exactly what we're going to address next. Over the years, I've watched strong, vibrant adults slowly lose their spark, not from disease, but from belief. Quiet, deeply ingrained misconceptions that chip away at well-being until one day, a person looks in the mirror and barely recognizes themselves. These aren't harmless thoughts. They're powerful inner scripts that convince people to let go of one of their most vital sources of health and joy. The first belief? that pleasure no longer matters after a certain age. I've heard the phrase countless times. "I'm too old for that," said with a soft smile, a shrug, and a tone of quiet surrender. But that belief is simply untrue. Aging does not erase your body's need for affection, for touch, for intimacy. It simply changes the way that need shows up. To abandon this part of yourself because of a number is like living in a house, but never turning on the lights. You might survive, but you'll miss out on the color, the warmth, the life. The second damaging idea is that self-pleasure is somehow shameful. Many grew up in households where this subject was never spoken of, or worse, spoken of with guilt and fear. Those early messages can bury themselves deep, surfacing even decades later, as hesitation, as discomfort, as silence. But let me tell you clearly, caring for your own body is not wrong. It's not inappropriate. It's a deeply human act of love and respect toward yourself. Then comes the third myth, that conserving sexual energy helps preserve strength. In truth, the opposite is often true. Sexual activity, including solo expression, keeps the body's systems engaged. It boosts hormones. It maintains circulation. It supports tissue health. When we stop using those systems, they weaken, just like a muscle left untouched. And perhaps the most harmful belief of all, that sexual health is separate from overall health. The truth? They are deeply connected. Nourish one, and the other follows. Ignore one, and both begin to fade. Understanding these myths is the beginning of taking your power back. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need a clear, practical path to return to yourself in a way that feels safe, gentle, and real. That's exactly what I'll share in the next section. A step-by-step approach designed specifically for this stage of life. If you've made it this far and this resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. Your presence here matters. When I first began helping older adults reconnect with their bodies, I realized something important. They didn't need vague advice. They needed structure, a path, something simple, gentle, and real. That's how the restoration method came to life. It's a process designed for aging bodies, one that respects change, but also reignites what's still very much alive within you. The first step is preparation. Before anything else, set the stage. Find a quiet, private space. Adjust the temperature to your comfort. Choose a chair or bed that supports your body, and have a high-quality, skin-safe lubricant nearby. These aren't just small details, they're signals to your nervous system that you're safe, that this moment matters, that you matter. Next is relaxation. Take a few deep breaths. Let your muscles soften. Allow your mind to slow down. There is no rush. This is not a chore. It's an invitation to be fully present in your own skin. Then comes awakening. Start gently. Touch places that may have been neglected for years, your belly, your thighs, your chest. Let go of judgment. Be curious. Even the smallest sensations are signs of aliveness. Follow that warmth, that response, that whisper of connection. Now, move into focused stimulation. No goals, no expectations. Just allow pleasure to arise naturally in its own rhythm. Use slow, intentional movements, not to get somewhere, but to stay with the moment. It's not about how fast you go, but how fully you feel. Finally, integration. When the experience ends, pause, breathe. Place your hand over your heart or your belly. Thank your body. This simple gesture roots the experience into something deeper, something healing. The restoration method isn't about chasing youth. It's about embracing where you are with grace, dignity, and tenderness. And once that spark returns, even just a flicker, you'll realize how much more life there is still inside of you. But even with a method in place, the path can be fragile. There are common mistakes that can easily throw you off course, especially if no one warns you about them. That's why, in the next section, I'll walk you through how to stay steady, even when doubt or discomfort show up. Every time I guide someone through the restoration method, I tell them the truth. Real transformation is rarely a straight line. There will be ups. There will be setbacks. There will be days when it all feels like too much. And that's normal. But knowing what to expect can make the difference between giving up and breaking through. One of the first pitfalls? Unrealistic expectations. Many assume that if they follow every step, they'll suddenly feel 20 again. But the truth is, your body has changed, and that's not a failure. It's just life. Now, success is measured differently, not in intensity, but in connection. Did you feel warmth, a flicker of ease, a moment of softness? Those are victories. Those are signs of healing. The second challenge? Inconsistency. This kind of healing needs rhythm. Doing it once in a while is like watering a plant once a month and expecting it to bloom. Instead, create space a few times a week, not as an obligation, but as a gift to yourself. Your body will respond to this kindness, slowly but surely. The third trap? Performance pressure. Focusing too much on a certain outcome tightens the very muscles you're trying to relax. Let go of expectations. This isn't a test. It's a return to presence, to feeling, to being. Whatever you feel, however small, is enough. And finally, perhaps the most silent enemy of all, shame. That old voice in the back of your mind whispering, "This isn't right," or "I shouldn't need this." But hear me clearly. There is nothing shameful about honoring your body. You are not broken. You are not selfish. You are human. And your body, even now, is worthy of care, of comfort, of pleasure. Each time you meet yourself with patience and compassion, you strengthen more than just your sensuality. You strengthen your spirit. And soon, you'll be ready for more. Because everything we've explored so far is just the beginning. There's a bigger shift waiting, one that can restore your energy, your clarity, your sense of self. And in the final section, I'll show you exactly what that looks like. As we reach the end of this journey, there's one thing I want you to remember. Your body, your health, your right to experience pleasure do not expire with age. They may evolve. They may ask more gently, but they do not vanish. Reclaiming this part of yourself is not about longing for the past. It's about recognizing the life you still carry inside you, the fire that's been quietly waiting, not to be young again, but to be whole. I've seen it with my own eyes. Men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, rediscovering something they thought was lost forever. And with that rediscovery comes more than just physical change, comes renewed joy, a stronger mind, a lighter heart. They begin to move again, to smile more freely, to connect more deeply. They begin to live again, and so can you. All it takes is one decision, to believe that you are still capable, still deserving, still deeply alive. Start where you are. Be patient. Be gentle. Every breath you take with awareness, every kind touch you offer your own body, is a step back to yourself. This isn't just about adding years, it's about adding life to every year ahead. Your story is not finished. You're still writing it, and you can choose to write it with strength, with softness, with the dignity and fullness you were always meant to enjoy. Thank you for being here, for staying open, for walking this path with me. You are not alone, and your next chapter can be the most powerful one yet.